Welcome to the NBA Coast to Coast podcast brought to you by lineups.com. Nate and Josh here with you guys on a Wednesday, getting into this NBA action. We've got looks for sides and totals. We've also got our player prop bets in here for you. So make sure you are subscribed to the channel, bringing you this all in one episode each and every weekday moving forward. Let's go ahead and get right into it, Nate. A game that has a pretty close total, or excuse me, not total, but spread here, considering what you might have thought of these teams coming into the season. Charlotte playing really well, surprising teams. Cleveland still missing a couple guys. You still like the Cavs to cover on the road.
Yeah, I'm going to kind of zag a little bit or sell stock on the Hornets at maybe the peak of the market for them. I mean, the Cavs coming off a loss against OKC, there is kind of a trend of like, do teams play better after they play the champs and get their ass handed to them? And so far, yes. I mean, we've seen like the Rockets, Spurs, and Heat all play much better in the game after playing OKC. And I think Cleveland could have a similar bounce back where they were looking pretty good prior to that game, starting to correct some things. And the big thing is like, are they going to be able to correct this 3-point defense against Charlotte? Because you look at the numbers and it does seem kind of scary because they're allowing 50% on corner threes in their last 10. But they have, done better in terms of like getting up on dudes. Number 6 in terms of defending 3-point shooters when they're actually on tight coverage. They've won 4 of their last 5 on the road. Number 10, limiting above the breakthrough attempts in that span. But the key for me here is like pick and roll stuff and Evan Mobley being healthy. Those are the two big things. Cavs are number 2 in pick and roll defense and number 1 at the rim in their last 10, but number 2 on the entire season pick and roll. Charlotte is 6th in points per game off pick and rolls and not very efficiently. So if they can kind of get them into that action, which they might try to use here against the Cavs, I think Mobley being active would be a huge deal. He actually missed both meetings earlier this year. The team split them, but his last 4 against Charlotte prior to that, 108 defensive rating, plus 55, and the Cavs won all 4. He's just kind of that incredible chess piece, like the queen on the chessboard to deploy against a team with a lot of big wings where there's not going to be any weaknesses in his defensive game. You still have J.A. patrolling the back line. So I just don't think Charlotte's going to be lighting it up that much. And I don't think their bad isolation defense has many answers for Donovan Mitchell, who with Garland out, I think picks up the slack. So, I mean, you can go Donnie 25 plus in a win and certainly correlate in that sense.
Yeah, that's what it comes down to is you don't really need to worry about how the Cavs sometimes struggle with their sort of assist percentage. It just, the defense is sort of leaning into what they want to do. I still, the total hasn't really moved. I think it's probably pretty fair at 235.5. But I would still lean a little bit more to the over, even with the way Charlotte has played in a couple games. I think like when Charlotte's whooped teams like that, the other team hasn't come along for the ride. And I'm not at all worried about that for Cleveland. So I'm looking at the game in New York here, the battle of the boroughs, and it's brutal right now for both these squads. 2 of the worst teams in the league in the last 5 games, especially alone. And really the Knicks in their last 10 have not been doing much winning. Neither have the Nets. The spread's huge in a way where I'm like, well, both these teams are bad. I don't think either of them deserves to be 10.5-point favorites over anybody else. But the Knicks are at home, and that does mean something for them with the way that their splits have been on the season and how bad they've been on the road compared to, good at home, at least for over the extended season anyway. But if you look at the total here, it's been bet down by like 5 points. And that's definitely, there's not a lot of pace going on for either of these teams. There's just also not a lot of defense going on for either of these teams. So when I get into the matchup, like I think both of these teams, as bad as they've been on offense, they're actually worse. They're both worse on defense. And both of them sort of lean into allowing the other to get sort of open looks in different areas, right? Like the Nets are going to keep moving the ball in a way where they're finding spot up shooters a ton, and they're moving the ball around the horn a ton, and then using Nick Claxton as an assist guy as well. And so their ball movement leads to a lot of assists and a lot of catch and shoot stuff. And that's how you beat the Knicks, who like there's no one on the Nets outside of MPJ that's like their guy, right? And MPJ's, as good as he is, has shown to be one-on-one, he's still a guy that's like best off the spot up. And if you want to overpressure him in some way, you're going to leave another like 2 guys open for this squad. That's what they're looking for with Jordi Fernandez's offense. So I just think both of them are going to be able to score. I don't know that there's going to be a lot of transition. And as far as the Knicks go, they're at home. Like this should be something that they take personally. It's like they always want to beat up on little bro. Little bro always comes with it though against them too, and keeps things closer than normal, which makes sense. There's a little. It's like the Mets and the Knicks or the Yankees almost. It's like there's a little more more to play for here, as you're not the known guy in your own city. I know it's a different borough, but it's still New York, man. So yeah, I'm going to take the over with the Nets, thinking that they're going to come along for the ride. But I do see the Knicks putting up a bunch here.
Yeah, I like it, especially with the discrepancy here. I mean, if you can get it at 220, it's all the way at 223 at some different books. So I mean that's certainly a good arbitrage opportunity. It opened at 224.
Right.
The assumption is the Nets our offense is just doo doo, but you know what? The Knicks defense is doo doo. And there's definitely a world. Yeah, I'm not messing with the spread at first. I'm like, the Knicks have been playing so bad, but this is kind of like a plant your flag type moment for the Knicks, right? They had the players only meeting. Watch out. Because it's possible they put up 140 here and just blow the Nets out, but then you're still going over, and it's possible the Nets actually cover, but it's a competitive game and you're still going over.
Yeah,
I think this one's going under. Detroit is going to win, in my opinion, and then minus 11. Now we're at that point, but you can basically tease the total up a little bit and take Detroit to win, and say there's a correlation there that when they win, they usually play elite defense. In fact, they've been playing elite defense no matter what in their last 10. It's another trend to look at is when teams lose to the Utah Jazz, do they wake up and start playing better? And for Detroit, that's been the case in 10 straight. Best defensive rating in the league in that span. Number one limiting field goals at the rim, which is absolutely essential. Number one assist defense with a bullet. Because the Pels are scoring the highest percentage of paint points. That's how they make their hay, especially with Zion. And Zion suddenly downgraded to questionable, which moved this spread from 9.5 to 11. So I don't know how the Pels are going to derive much offense without Zion. If he does sit, they're down to 22nd in offensive rating, and they're not playing at a blistering pace. They're 11th in pace in their last 10. They also don't have a high free throw rate, and that's Detroit's big weakness. But as far as this 10-game stretch since they lost to the Jazz, they've gone under in 8 straight. They've gone under the 234 total in 10 straight. And they are 9-2 to the under in their last 11 wins. And they're a team that just doesn't really lapse. After coming off a big win against Boston, you might say, oh, well, they're gonna lose focus. It's like Cade said, no, we've lost 20 plus straight. We know we have to be on our game every night, and they are defensively. So they're 23-7 straight up after a dub. And that goes along with the correlation 9-2 to the under in their last 11 wins. So win plus under, it all works together.
Yeah, no, I think you did a good job of sort of laying that out and why it works that way for Detroit especially. And yeah, who knows who's going to be playing for New Orleans? Who knows how their rotation is going to look? So I wouldn't put much stock in them against a Detroit team that's been really good on the road, especially. So looking at two teams that I'm not going to say they're going in different directions. I know that with Ja, it's just in this particular moment they're sort of trending in different directions because Ja's playing, and that's really the key for the Grizz. And look, you can look at Ja one of two ways in terms of he and his teammates don't seem to be getting along very much, and he and his coaching staff certainly aren't, and he's probably on his way out as they're publicly fielding offers from other teams. So he came back from an injury absence that you go, well, how much of an injury was it versus it's Ja just being sat out? Who knows? But then he comes back against the Magic and does Ja stuff with 20 in the first half and is like, I'm back. I'm still Ja Morant. I'm now just auditioning to go play for another team that hopefully will be the Rockets, and then we can be an actual contender. I think that sounds pretty good to him at this point, and that's really what he's playing for personally, and that's why I like the Grizzlies with him. In the last 5 that they played with Ja, they're only 2-3, and they have a bad loss against Washington where there was another little scuffle between him and the coaches in that one. So you could argue that there's chaos theory here, and the floor for what happens here is that the Grizzlies lose Ja. Either way, even if they lose Ja, they've still rallied around that with Cam Spencer coming in and having double-digit dimes in 2 of his last 3 without Ja. So I'm not too worried about that. But just to finish the point with the Hawks, it doesn't look good right now with CJ McCollum. I'm not going to just throw up, flare signals and be like, oh my God, SOS for Atlanta necessarily. And I don't even think CJ being there is the future at all. It's just, they were kind of hoping to get a little bit more out of this season, probably get another playoff run out of for their young guys that they have in Okongwu in a starting role and Jalen Johnson another year actually getting in the playoffs, etc. They want that. And it's not looking good because in their last 4 with CJ, it's a complete reversal from what it was in the previous 4 or 5. And it's some bad losses, man. That Milwaukee loss particularly bad because the way that they ended the game with CJ just sort of losing the ball in a turnover that he didn't even seem to be wanting to pass it. So they don't even know they were going to get a shot up. The loss of Boston was just obviously embarrassing by 26, a 16-point loss to Portland, and that just thrashing from the Lakers as well in LA. So whether they're home or away hasn't seemed to matter. And in this one on the road, they've gotten walloped on the road in their last two with CJ. So I think that John and the Grizz at least bring it in this one.
Are you not worried about the Europe travel coming home from London and Germany? And I mean, is the theory that this game starts at like 7 Eastern, so it's only like 2 a.m. Europe time, and they're like, you know what, we're still up.
It's so much easier to go right east to west to sort of like go back that way, and then you sort of it's a little bit easier on the jet lag anyway, as I understand it, but not really. Honestly, after like 3 days coming back from that, I think they should be good.
Yeah, and I'm with you on Ja. I mean, as far as kicking off the props, you said 20 points in the first half, and his line opened at 19.5. You can still probably get an expensive 19.5, but I mean, take another point here. I mean, I don't know if it's posturing, but the reporting was after that game that he's like, I want to stay in Memphis. I mean, if so, that's really good posturing, because I think, there's a lot of reluctance to trade for these damaged goods guys, right? Like see Trae Young not getting much of a return there. So yeah, like you said, he has to play well and he has to act like he's bought in and that he can be dependable for the next franchise. And he hasn't played much, but he has 4 home games in Memphis since the start of December. Averaged 25.5 with a 35% usage, double-double in 3 of 4, 40 points in that Philly game, in the one that he did not have a double-double. And on the road in that span, we're seeing 16 points a game, 29% usage, just not the same aggressive Ja, who loves to put on a show, still loves those fans in Memphis. This is the Memphis-Atlanta, like little bit of a petty rivalry in terms of who's the best city in the South, whatnot. And Atlanta's just not very good, guarding the rim. They're allowing about 70% in their last 10. They've really struggled against aggressive guards and wings that drive to the basket, and his drives and pull-up games have been working in the last 5 years. He's up above 30 minutes per game around, so no longer as concerned about the production per minute, because it looks like he's going to get about a full run here.
Yeah, no, we're saying the same thing. So yeah, nothing to really add to the Ja stuff here. But let me get to the back to that Pelicans and Pistons game, and like just too low for Saddiq Bey. It's just what it comes back to. I mean, we've got guys questionable in terms of Zion now as well. Game time decision. I think Alvarado. He's been out for a minute too, but I mean, Herb Jones is the game time decision that I'm concerned with. But honestly, like I think Saddiq Bey has shown that like one, or even with Herb Jones back, he's been in the starting lineup with Herb. It used to be like, Herb's around, so like Saddiq Bey might not get as many minutes, and that's just not the case anymore. Like he's up at 30 minutes with consistency in that starting lineup, and I think he'll stay there at this point. So 13.5 points is just like a couple points below where I have him at when he's been taking roughly 13 shots a game, like he has been in those 33 minutes. So this is really just a minutes play. I mean, the blowout is definitely possible. The market is telling us with the spread that it's actually likely to happen in this one with like 11 points or so. And I buy that, but Saddiq Bey has been playing in blowouts, scoring this many points basically for the last 2 months. And it doesn't seem to really matter much. He's still getting those minutes. There's still a very thin rotation. And like really his only real competition for time at the 4 that he's really playing, as Zion's actually more at the 3, it is really like Karlo Makovic at this point. So I'm not too worried about that, as he's still getting those minutes. And that's really what it comes down to. I just think that the market isn't respecting him. And I definitely price him way higher than it seems like the market does consistently.
Yeah, this doesn't seem like there's been a real market adjustment with Zion downgraded. If he's still even money here, we'll see how long that lasts. But he's definitely going to have to step up. Also, little former team theory, drafted by the Pistons, first 3 seasons there. So going to be geared up for it. But I think more like X's and O's, like they just do such a good job limiting the threes and dunks, and Bey is kind of like been making more of his hay in the in-between game, and not necessarily depending on the 3-pointer, which hasn't been falling for him, but threes might be falling for Chet. I mean, I just want the opportunities, man. That's all I asked for. And the Thunder are at Milwaukee, and that drop D, which just is very vulnerable to big men who want to shoot. We just saw Wemby go 5 for 11 from deep. We saw Okongwu and Krejci last game get 9 attempts and go 0 for 9. But in the last 6 for the Bucks, they are allowing 41% from 3. They're allowing the 3rd most assists, and Chet is definitely going to need assisted threes. They're in the last 15, they're allowing the fourth most wide open threes and the league worst percentage on open threes. But there's also a pattern here where, like, when does Chet get his attempts? It's usually against teams that are very good against the ISO, because it makes sense, right? As SGA gets walled off a little bit, they start moving that thing around. They use Chet as a stretch 5, 4, and he hits a couple. And we've seen that in recent matchups against those. The Bucks are actually allowing the fewest points per game off drives in their last 10 because of that drop D, and they're above average against the ISO. And then you add, like, who's actually out for the Thunder, which is probably the main thing here, is no J-Dub, no Caruso, no Hartenstein, 3 guys that would certainly siphon minutes and usage away from Chet. Without Dub since the start of 2024, he's averaging about 2 threes a game at 42%, just a tick under 2 versus a tick under 1.5 at 36% when J-Dub plays. Better spacing. He's coming off a 4 for 5 game against the Cavs, so he should be seeing the basket pretty well. And I think you get the opportunities here against that drop D.
Yeah, no, that all adds up, especially matchup wise. And for Chet, I was looking at ways to play this too. I thought 1.5 assists was kind of interesting, just knowing that J-Dub isn't there too. I think 2 assists seems pretty good for him as he plays a few more minutes too in this one, I would imagine. So I do like Chet in this way. A couple things are high, but not the threes, not the assists. Those are the 2 I like the most. And then Moussa on the boards, like, still coming in. Kind of like Moussa more when he actually has, like, somebody to go up against. I don't know why. He seems to do really well against rebounding teams. If you filter him against the top 10 rebounding teams in the league for games that he plays at least 25 minutes, then he's averaging 11 boards per game in those. He's averaging 22 rebound chances a game. We know he's going to get the rebound chances. That's just what he's focused on doing. And I do like that he's playing with starters pretty consistently too, because it's like, well, yeah, he's really not focused on much. He's at best, he's the 5th thought. He's a complete afterthought when you have all those guys that are so good on ball from, all the wings that they basically have in LaMelo. So that's really just all this is. Like, his minutes are good at 25 for me, and that's really all I need now. It kind of seemed at times like maybe we needed him to start, or maybe we needed Kalkbrenner to be out to feel a little bit better about it. But, like, there's either splitting where Moussa's getting, like, slightly more minutes, or Moussa's getting a bunch more minutes because Kalkbrenner can't go the whole game or whatever. So there's just a lot more outs for Moussa to play a few more minutes. And at 8.5, I'm just going to continuously hit this number if he's playing 20 plus minutes, basically.
Yeah, you're playing all the hits today. Bey and Diabate, 2 of your most frequent picks in the last couple of weeks. And yeah, I mean, he's a rebound chance machine. So yeah, let's fire that ahead. And then you can guarantee the minutes against the Cavs with their Twin Towers lineup.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, that's a key too. I guess that's probably part of it, is the minutes are pretty consistent when there is a slightly bigger team, but it's really just been over the last, like, 12, 13 games when Kalkbrenner went down, and then Moussa was just like, okay, not only do we don't care if he starts or not, we know he's getting 25 of the 48 center minutes. That's all I need to know. So that is all the time we have for you guys in this one. Definitely make sure to continue to follow along, subscribe to the channel. We'll be back with plenty more action for Thursday slate. Plus, we'll have all the stuff you need here for coming up in the NFL playoffs. So until we see you next, happy betting.